little. Brian Little.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? I deeply apologize for those technical difficulties earlier. Um, we got a winter storm coming in Pittsburgh. I didn't even realize it. I'm sitting there trying to broadcast in the middle of a winter storm. All right. Let me see. I'm trying to retweet all this out. We are back. That's not it. That's wrong. Let me go to Stadia Dosage. where I say I apologize for the. Okay, here we go. Tweet. And there we go. All right, everybody should know that we're live now. All right, for everybody that's interested. Have a good one. I have to get out. Okay, Duncan, I appreciate you, brother. Sorry about that, man. That was going to be a great conversation, but still, thank you for the information. All right, so here's the deal, y'all. We got and I knew I was going to mess that up. Let me get in my Discord. I think it was Discord that threw us off. I forgot all about that. I forgot all about the wonderful, beautiful Discord that likes to mess things up. Discord isn't as light on resources as it used to be. It's not as efficient as it used to be. There are times and utterly throw things off. Okay, am I coming up Discord now? Showing up. Let's do one of these numbers real quick and then come. All right, now we're showing up. Okay, all right. So let's talk about it first. Cyberpunk 2077. Charles Oran. Hey, news just keeps. Hey, tell me about it, Charles. Like, golly, right? We can't. It's crazy, but here's what I was saying to Duncan before we got interrupted and things got messed up, right? And again, I deeply apologize for that. There's a big storm coming. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again. I had to reboot my PC and also, but hopefully, the worst is past us. If it happens again, we'll just have to redo it at another time. That being said, I'm bummed as a gamer. I am. I mean, I said it earlier. Cyberpunk 2077 was going to be the game that was going to fill in the gaps for me. Because I'm still playing Borderlands 3. I still got to play Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And I still got a backlog of games that I'm interested in. Like, I love Metro, but I haven't finished Metro. I still got Rage that I'm going to play. All those games opposite of Metro are service as a, the games as a service. I don't mind games as a service, games that you can keep going back to and enjoying, right? I don't mind those. That being said, Cyberpunk 2077 being delayed is a bummer. And to give the official word, let's do this. Let me switch over here. That it? Yeah. So it says here, Cyberpunk 2077 delayed to September. Cyberpunk 2077 is delayed to Sci-Fi Adventures. Not going to make it out for its April release date. Developer CD Projekt Red revealed today that is now coming September 17th. That gives the studio more time to polish the game before it launches on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Here's how the developer explained it in a statement on Twitter. We're currently at stage where the game is complete and playable, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Night City is massive, full of stories, content, and places to visit, but due to the sheer scale and complexity of it all, we need more time to finish playtesting, fixing, and polishing. We want this game, Cyberpunk 2077, to be our crowning achievement for this generation. And postponing launch will help us, will give us the precious months we need to make the game perfect. Expect regular updates on progress as we get close to the date. So again, how I feel about that personally, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the chat. How I feel about it personally is, I don't like it. I don't like it personally. It was going to fill my gaps in between me, playing Borderlands, because I'm always going to play Borderlands. Borderlands 3 is giving me the feel of 1. I played Borderlands 1 like it was a premier game that just came out. I played it that way for like 2 years straight. Like, that was my number one game for 2 years. I played it on everything from Xbox, PlayStation, PC, on live. Remember when on live? I was a beta tester for on live, and they gave you Borderlands 3 for free. So I played Borderlands 3 on live. On live, rather. So I love the game. Borderlands 1 and I love 3. And 3 is giving me feels of 1, so I can see myself playing that a long time. But then, you want something to supplement that experience. And I'm going to be honest with you. As far as Marvel is concerned, I'm not interested in that. the more linear single player type of games, or the linear built single player type of games in the realm of like a God of War, those aren't my cup of tea. Like Jedi Fallen Order. We did put that on our top, our top 5 games of the year at the Hard Knock Digital Culture. But that's not what gets me excited. You know what I'm saying? Those linear type of games. I like them. I can appreciate them for what they're for, but that's not what get my juices flowing. I love living games. I love games that live, living, breathing games. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't like, and that's okay. There's different strokes for different folks, and there's different slices of pie for everybody to find something that they enjoy. So that's fine. So the Marvel game kind of looks more like a linear style. I know that's the craze right now. Not my cup of tea. Cyberpunk 2077 though was going to be that hit for me. You know what I'm saying? So it sucks there. But here's where ultimately, this is where we're going to turn lemons into lemonade. And here's why I think that this is a benefit for Stadia. Okay. It was questionable when this thing was going to launch for Stadia. Was it going to launch day and date? I mean, we saw Doom launch day and date, but that's Doom. Was Cyberpunk 2077 going to launch day and date on Stadia? And my theory was, and I threw this question out there, just for craps and giggles, just to see if how big of a deal. Hold on, let me see something real quick. My apologies, y'all. Just to see how big of a deal people thought that my question would be as well. And that question was, copy link to tweet. Hold on. Duncan put out a good tweet just now. This is like, as things develop, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy out here. And I'm just combing through the news, and let me go find Duncan's tweet. I'm looking on my phone right now. He put out a great tweet about these 120 games. Duncan, there we go. And he says, I know I'm all over the place, but he says, oh, he just put out something. Where the hell is that? He says, I see a lot of people talking about Uplay Plus being responsible for a lot of these games. Uplay Plus will be different for Stadia, lots of reasons why, but come down to 2 main reasons: price support and Stadia games to have controller support. So I guess the 120 plus games we're talking about, they're saying, are exclusive to Stadia, or basically from Uplay Plus. Uplay Plus will be different for Stadia, lots of reasons why, but regardless, if that is the case, you're getting Uplay Plus versions of the game, which have the PC feel to them, brought over to Stadia, that you can stream if you have a Uplay Plus account. You can't beat that. And then for me, someone that has Uplay Plus, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And then now I get to carry my game over. I know I'm all over the place. We were talking about Cyberpunk 2077, but Duncan is a resource of quality news, and I just wanted to read that tweet, and we'll talk about that. With that being said, and with that, well, I'll talk about that later. But yeah, this sucks. But we didn't know, as far as Cyberpunk 2077 is concerned, we didn't know if Cyberpunk 2077 was coming day and date. And the question that I had put out there that I was referring to earlier is it a must for Stadia that Cyberpunk 2077 comes out day and date? And in my mind, I'd say yes, because if they want to be taken seriously in 2020, even if they don't get all of the most sought after multiplats, they got to get like the biggest ones, and and the ones that they are getting, they gotta come day and date. And Cyberpunk 2077 is in a war with what do you call the game? Last of Us 2 as being the most critically acclaimed game for 2020. You know what I mean? And we don't know how any of these games are going to end up, but I'm just saying as far as public perception is right now. And if you can't get potentially the biggest game day and date on your platform with everybody else, then you're not even considered a serious contender. You're just considered an enthusiast toy at the moment. Now, things could change in 2021, but had Cyberpunk 2077 come out in April and Stadia not get it day and date, which it was starting to look that way, that would have been a big blow. And let's just say if the extended time, if the gap was 4 weeks or plus, hey, look, I couldn't even fight these people that I tell you that be in these DMs that are locked and loaded against Stadia. I would have nothing else to say. Like Cyberpunk 2077 has to come day and date to Stadia, and for Stadia to have any rigorous, any serious argument as far as, hey, look, we're here in 2020. Because let's break it down like this. And I said this in an earlier video that I released on my individual channel. You have to have an understanding that if you're trying to reach the casual gaming market, they're only going to buy one system at a time, or just one system, period. And their biggest call is the multiplats, the big name multiplats. So if there's a big name multiplat out there and you don't have it, it's coming to you later, that spells second tier to them. And you're already, like Tequila Works had explained, and we'll get into that later. Tequila Works had explained that they get the apprehension, even though you, I, and a lot of other people understand how well Stadia works, but they get the apprehension because this is a new delivery system. This is over the cloud. We heard on live, we see the memes on live all the time. It didn't work. This is the same thing in the minds of the consumer public. So even though I'm out here screaming and preaching how well it works, how it has that 60 frames per second and a performance better than consoles, and how it's a perfect delivery system around your house and the different places wherever you want to go, at the end of the day, it's about the games. And if you can't get at least the multiplayer game, the multiplat games, I mean, exclusives are one thing, and we understand if those take some time. Heck, the PlayStation 4 lived and killed it its second and third year with hardly any exclusives. Andrew House said it himself, they were sparse. So it ain't you got to be oozing with exclusives every day. But at the very least, at the infancy of your platform, you got to have the big ticket games, and they got to come day and date. Now, Doom is a great title, gets critically acclaimed, but Doom doesn't have the outreach, a broad appeal that a Cyberpunk 2077 does. And it's bad enough that Activision hasn't signed on to support you yet, so you ain't going to get the Call of Duties. It's bad enough that it looks like EA might not ever come aboard because they signed this deal with Steam. And I think what it is that Steam is like, we want to compete with our Steam links, so don't go to Stadia. That's a possibility. I'm not 100% sure on that. But with all that being said, you gotta have the big ticket games out there. And this being pushed back, even though it sucks, there is a silver lining for Stadia. It gives them time to ensure that this thing comes day and date. And I'm going to take it a step further before I go into the real meat and potatoes of the show today. If I'm Stadia, this allows me more breathing room to start negotiating with them. Because you got to do something whenever you have other juggernauts out there. And I hope that someone that's connected to Google, that has some type of influence in Stadia, that can get in somebody's ears listening to this. Because the possibility is high. We know as a community, we were asking for Raids 2 to be dropped. And they did the wonderful gamer friendly and customer friendly thing to drop that on Christmas. They gave your boy MM2K a Christmas present, and I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So if they're listening, here's what I would be doing. If I'm taking my 20 plus year Fortune 500 experience, if I'm taking it to Google, I'm saying, look, we're going to have to pull a 2K5. Huh? What's that, MM2K? Little known game called EA, Madden, right? Was the king of the hill. But Madden kept decreasing and decreasing in overall value. You know what I'm saying? Then there were these little known 2K people that were making football games, and their football games were getting better and better. But because Madden had such a staunch following because it was just Madden, they would outsell and outpace 2K, even though people were saying 2K football games were the better, or American football games, from my UK listeners and other listeners all over the world, or soccer, or football as they call it, is more predominant there. It was the biggest American football game out there just off of name recognition alone. And then one year, 2K said, you know what? The hell with it. Screw it. We're going all in. This year, 2K5, even though we know we have the superior product, we can't buck with the Madden name. We are making our game, instead of it being $49.99 like Madden, our game is going to be $19. Man, oh man, oh man. You talk about pandemonium. Oh my. When I went into GameStop, I tell the story all the time. There were Madden 2K fanboy fights that broke out. I literally watched a Madden 2K brawl between 7 to 8 people, maybe even 10 people, break out in the middle of a GameStop. You had people in line talk, I'm getting that Madden. The line was just out the door because I think they released relatively close. Can't exactly remember. They were relatively close or on the same day, right? And the line was out the door. Literally out the door, like they had to keep the door open. And, it was just left and right. Madden 2K, Madden 2K, Madden 2K. People in line. What are you getting? Getting that Madden. Then you'd have the people in the line that were 2K fans heckling them. Madden is trash. It's garbage. You getting your head beat in with a cash register. Get the hell out of here, dummy. Next person in line. 2K5. What you getting? 2K5. That 2K5 is trash, wannabe. It's only $20. That bargain bin garbage. Get it out of here. After 10, 15 minutes of it, one person got up and said, I don't want to hear none of this stuff. I'm just trying to play games. Shut up. It depends on what you're going to get, what you're going to hear. Got 2K5. Crowd started heckling them. Blows were thrown. And my jaw just dropped. That's how serious it was. And this was on Pitt campus. There's a GameStop on Pitt campus. This was a Pitt campus. I'll never forget it. Never forget it. Me, of course, I love 2K5, so I picked up 2K5 after the brawl ended, because I knew the managers there too. They gave me my copy of 2K5 after everybody was cleared out. Campus police came and all that stuff, right? So, I say that to say this, that I think if I'm Google, and again, I'm taking the MM2K 20 plus year Fortune 500 experience, realizing how you got to have product placement. My product placement for 2020, if I'm a Google exec or if I have any influence there, this is top-notch experience at a fraction of the price. Look, and then what I'm going to do is I'm working out a deal where Cyberpunk 2077 is $30 on the free tier. No. I mean, $40 for the free tier. And if you're a pro member, it's $30. I repeat, if I'm at Google, I'm looking at how 2K5 changed the game. It changed the game so bad that it forced EA to go to the NFL and get an exclusive $200 million exclusive deal with them, which was a large figure at the time. I'm using my Google power, influence, and war chest. And I'm going to CD Projekt Red. That undoubtedly, with all this extra testing and all the stuff they got to do and all these deals that they probably, these litmuses and milestones that they got to achieve with their publisher, Warner Brothers, and it does have some financial impact on it, I'm coming to ease their financial woes. I'm coming with the bags. I'm coming with the duffels like you ain't never seen before. It's going to look like we going to war. That we got AK-47s in them duffels filled with nothing but cash. And I'm dropping them on the table. CD Projekt Red, we get it. Trying time. And hey, patting them on the back. Hey, I appreciate the fact that you are supporting our platform early on in this infancy stage. I know it's not easy. It's not that easy. And I know that it just mounts the pressure. The pressure is compiling on top of just having to brush up this product that we know is going to be fabulous. But I tell you what, we're here to ease that pain. We've come here to ease that pain. And then CD Projekt Red says, ease the pain? What is that in all them duffel bags? And we're going to say, Green Novocaine. We're here to ease the pain, baby, with cold, hard cash. This is what we need you to do. Let's see that Cyberpunk 2077. For all this money, give it to us on our platform. $40 for our free subscriber tier and $30 for our pro members. And you get this cash right now to help with any polishing, any overtime, anything that you have to do to get this thing to perfection. We're willing to help you out. It's just we scratch your back, you scratch ours. Make this game retail on our platform for $29.99 for our pro members, $39.99 for the free tier. Boom! Boom! People will be like, what? And then again, you got to remember, this is still September, baby. This is before those new consoles come out. So you can get in early and get people to buy up Stadia before new consoles come out. Get CD Projekt Red, the hottest developer this generation. Get their latest product, which is Cyberpunk 2077. Get them to have their game on your store for exclusive prices of $39.99 if you're on the free tier, $29.99 if you're a pro member. And the perk is that they get to play this thing at 60 frames per second that you're likely not getting off the consoles because of those Jaguar cores. And don't give me that garbage that they're going to have performance mode. We know how them performance modes work. Digital Foundry told you them things be dipping 45, 40 frames per second. Y'all see when I be streaming on Stadia, when I put that new plugin via TP Monkey in? My thing be hitting 67 frames per second. So if I'm a consumer, casual gamer, I get CD Projekt Red's game in my hand, Cyberpunk 2077, for a fraction of the price on a system that's only $130 if I get the Chromecast bundle version. I'm getting the biggest and baddest game likely of 2020 in my hands for a fraction of the price at the better performing way than most of the consoles out there and at better frames than the most powerful console. I get to experience that in my hands. They're going to have better 4K resolution by that time because people are building the game from the ground up. And then I'm going to say to myself, well, why do I got to buy the next Xbox? Why? All their games are going to be scaled up and scaled down. They ain't even pumping out the power of that thing. So why I got to get a Series X? Then they talking about the Series S that's going to do 1440p. What the hell is 1440p? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you follow me? Do you see what I'm saying? So again, Google, you listening? Or anybody got an ear to Google. They got to do a 2K5. They got to show up with duffel bags like they ready to do World War III. What's in those bags? You got Tommy guns? What's in them bags? No. We're coming to ease the pain. We got that green Novocaine, baby. Cold, hard cash. We know you're going to be doing overtime polishing this game. We know you're going to have to pay people more. And we know that there's going to be financial burden due to your deal with Warner Brothers because now you had to push back the date. We know it. We know there's a lot of pressure. We've come to ease the pain with green Novocaine. Matter of fact, we need to hashtag that Stadia Dosage. Green Novocaine. We got to do it. You got to do it, Google. You got to do it. September. This is right. This is a ripe opportunity for you to take a hold of this before the new consoles come out. If you can do that and get people to see the Stadia experience and say, "Oh, hold on, this is good. Why do I need to pay $600 for Series X again? That Hellblade ain't coming until 2023. I'll think about it then." But right now they just scaling up and down games. For $130 over 600, I'm good. And I just got Cyberpunk 2077, the biggest game of 2020 likely, for $30 or maybe $40. Do you feel what I'm saying? Let me go to my chat, see what my chat thinks about all that. Chase Force says, keep up the good work. Was going to say before the last stream cut out, I would recommend if you wanted to mod me, do the Stadia Talk account next time you're live. Absolutely, Chase. I would love to get you on too, brother. Definitely. We're going to do big things with this channel. This channel is for the people. When I do my content, Chase, and just for anybody listening, this is not about me getting clicks or getting subs or the super chat. I do community-based content. If I wanted to, I could sit there and play the fanboy console war. I did be and dabble in it, just for fun. But I'm not staunchly behind any platform. Even what I'm doing here on the Stadia Dosage is for information purposes. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to let the people know that Stadia has something to offer. There's good and there's bad with it, but there's more good than bad, and there's a lot of promising things coming. And don't listen to the noise out in the ethos. That's the purpose of this channel. Not to sit there and take advantage of anybody or lie to anybody, anything like that. And therefore, because of that, I want other platforms that are doing the same thing to grow. So definitely, whatever accounts you got, Chase, bring them on. I'll make them all mods. You know what I'm saying? And anybody else that's doing Stadia content, let's do this, man. Let's do this. Our community says, as a whole, all of the great creators we have. Absolutely. He says, man, I can't wait till Stadia hits its stride. He says the post from Grace gives a clear indication of base launch. And this is TR as Reactor. Q Games is one of the exclusives. ESO event later today. Oh, wow. Okay. Hopefully an update from there. Stadium Gaming. What's up, Stadia? My friends, what's going on? 0 games for me. Who won? Oh, who won the fight? Hey, look. I have a cousin. He was a military service person, and Big ups to him. He knows who he is. He's just been rowdy, man. He's a rowdy person. He was there too. We was all on Pitt campus trying to buy. We weren't there together. I just ran into him. And I said, "Hey, cuz, how you doing? You know, such and such." He was on the side of 2K5. I left temporarily. Look, I've come from a rough neighborhood. I'm not one to dilly dabby and that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's not my thing. I wanted to play games. That's it. I wanted to play games. So when I saw my cousin was in there and he was on the side of 2K5, I said, we're going to be okay. And I left. So I know what side won. With that being said, oh man, it was, and I'm going to be honest with you. The 2K5 people were the biggest hecklers. The 2K5 people were the biggest hecklers, led by my cousin. My cousin was leading the hecklers. And these were college kids, Pitt kids too. They were just horrible. They were just horrible. What it was is that the Madden people were coming in all cocky. Oh man, this garbage 2K5. It's only $20, man. They didn't know what they were talking about. They were just following the herd. They were used to following what was popular. And the 2K5 people, they knew they had the superior product, and they were out to flaunt it. And just things just escalated from there, and it went downhill. I left. I rolled. Stadium Gaming said EA had to buy the NFL license to end the 2K takeover. Once EA bought the license, Madden became super stale trash. Absolutely. And to that point, Stadium Gaming, that's okay. Because guess what? Microsoft ain't outbidding Google on nothing, right? EA had that power to do that to 2K because 2K was small at that time. But Microsoft ain't outbidding Google in nothing. So we ain't got that to worry about. What that's going to do is that's going to shine more light on Google, and people are going to say, ooh, Google got a good war chest. Let's run to them and see what we can get from them next. You know what I'm saying? It's a ripple effect. Even if Google writes checks or not, which in likelihood to get your product off the floor, you're going to have to spend a little bit more money for product placement and mind share. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But to that point, Microsoft can't be EA. Microsoft can't outbid them. It's Google, richest company in the world. Only people that can contend with them every now and again that comes nipping at their heels is who? Microsoft. But Google's the richest. TZ Raptor, Xbox already got exclusives on Cyberpunk. They couldn't discount it. That is true. That is that. Oh, it depends on what the deal is. If the deal is just for marketing and Xbox doesn't do, if Xbox doesn't do what Sony has done with Activision games, you can't exclude, you know what I'm saying? Nobody, hey, look, they can advertise under Microsoft all they want. But if that wasn't part of their contract for, if it was just a marketing deal, which I think that's what Microsoft does. I don't think their marketing deals get as extensive as what Sony does. If it was just for the rights to say, if you advertise our game and we got the rights to do all the commercials, like you show our logo for the commercials. If that's what it is solely, and they're still open to get price decreases, you know what I'm saying, to other platforms, then hey. Or here's what I would do if I'm Google. You buy Cyberpunk 2077 and you either get $20 back or you get $30 back to get around that. You get $20 back in Google points. Maybe they can do that. You'll get $20 back in Google points for you to use in anything, or $30 back in G Play points for anything. Maybe that's what they can do. Maybe that'll work. Zero Games for me says I would like 1080p 60 frames. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love the 1080p 60 frames per second is fantastic because the reason, and here's at first, Zero Games for me, I didn't like that option because on the consoles it looks so ugly. Why does it look so ugly on consoles 1080p 60 mode? Because the frame rates aren't consistent. Excuse me. Unlike on Stadia, the frame rates are consistent. It's a consistent 60, so it looks good. Even on a web browser, it looks good. Y'all seen my I say this all the time. Y'all seen my streams, baby. They look better than console. They look better than my PC streams, and I got a 2070 card. When I'm using my PC, I'm hamstrung to only stream at 48 frames per second because resources are being used. But because I'm working off of a Google Chrome browser, I spare myself resources and my games can work better. So Stadia is a streamer's delight. All right. I'm sorry. Jeez, I was messing that up. To Resurrector. Oh, I like that. Oh, okay. Okay, like Resurrector. Okay. I can dig that. To Resurrector. I like that, bro. I like that. Yeah. Imagine how many people it says would jump on Stadia version with the refund idea. Exactly. So if somebody got an ear to Stadia, if somebody's listening to this podcast on demand, live, whatever the case may be, push that. They got to show up like they're ready for World War III with nothing but duffels in hand. What the hell is that? Who y'all going to light up? Oh, no, baby. No, baby. We've come to ease your pain. We've brought the green Novocaine. Cold, hard cash. All right. With that being said, would you believe that we've gone on for how long? I can't even see. We've gone on for 43 minutes and I haven't even started the show yet. So I guess it's time to start the show. But that was big news. Okay, so let me see. All right. First and foremost, people, Google ends that radio silence in a major way. We got Doom is coming day and date. Tequila Works boss emphatically praises Stadia and game streamers signed by YouTube. Let's get into it. First and foremost, radio silence ends. We all know, or we should know, Stadia has made major announcements for 2020. First and foremost, and let me put the article up here on the screen so y'all can see it. Let's switch over. Do something like, oh, that's wrong. Hey, what are you doing? Look at it, baby. First, we have 120 plus games coming to the platform this year, 10 of which are exclusives, and those exclusives are just coming in the first half alone. And for quarter one, we're getting 4K coming to web browser. That's an interesting tidbit because I have 1440p monitors, and I do most of my gaming on Stadia via the browser. I love the 1080 60 modes. I wonder if I put it on a 1440p monitor, will it still stay at the 60 frames per second and give me 2K? You know what I'm saying? I wonder how that's going to work. So we'll see. Also, there's going to be additional support of Android phones. So let's read the full letter. It says, and big ups to our homies at Stadia Source. They're the ones that made us aware of it, along with our friend Duncan. I was shocked to see this news. Let me move my mic here a little bit so I can see and read this to you guys. It says, when Stadia launched in November, we delivered great gaming experiences for players and continue to work toward our long-term vision for the future of gaming. Stadia is an evolving, they spelled that wrong, an evolving platform, and we've been busy in 2 months since the launch, adding great content, features, and ways to play amongst others. We have added more games to Stadia library. We've updated. We've welcomed Typhoon Studios, updated all Chromecast Ultras so you can play Stadia on more screens, rolled out more features to Stadia, including Google Assistant and achievements, delivered a multiplayer first for gamers with Stream Connect's debut on Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Surprise Stadia founders with a second buddy pass. All that stuff was cool. We have a lot more planned, and we continue to work hard, delighting gamers with our vision for Stadia. Looking at our upcoming lineup, we are tracking more than 120 games coming to Stadia in 2020, and we are targeting more than 10 games in the first half of this year that alone will only be available on Stadia when they launch. We're working with our partners to share more of those games soon. Gamers can expect more features coming to Stadia in Q1 and beyond. A key benefit of our platform is that we can add these features without any updates or downloads, and we're starting to roll out the following over the next 3 months. Support for 4K gaming on the web. Add further assistance functionality with playing on the web. Support additional Android phones and wireless gameplay on the web through Stadia controller. There's a lot more store for this year. In the meantime, we hope gamers are gearing up for some great news and experiences. Towards the end of this month, we will share more about the games coming to Stadia Pro in February. We appreciate all of your support and feedback and we've had with our earliest fans, and we hope they're excited about 2020 as we are. Okay. So that's all fantastic. All fantastic. And the 120 games, here's a couple of things, though, to take away from this that I think are interesting on top of all the great news. First and foremost, the 120 games, Duncan had talked about that, and there's talk that most of those games are coming from Uplay Plus. All right, here's the thing about that, though. Uplay Plus is a fantastic experience. All right, hold on. Okay, we're good. Okay, I just saw that the stream was messing up. Uplay Plus is a fantastic experience altogether. I just love it. I love it as a tool. I love it as it's my premier Game Pass, quote unquote, as you will say, because I love Ubisoft games. Again, I love playing games that have life to them. I don't want to use the term one and done, but nowadays I want the biggest bang out of my buck. And games, living, breathing games that flourish with new content on a regular basis, or games I like to play. And I love Ubisoft games. So having access to all of the Ubisoft games is fantastic. Okay. Here's the thing, though. You're getting access to all those games, the smoother and better versions of those games brought to you via Uplay Plus, and you're getting the 60 frames per second. And there's a lot of great titles in Uplay Plus. So even if that is the case, if the majority of those 120 games are because of Uplay Plus, then okay. All right. I mean, that's fantastic. And then as we're talking on the heels of Cyberpunk 2077 being held back, this is a great time more than ever for people to go through Uplay Plus and play all those fantastic games. No better time than to do it now. You know what I'm saying? I think, and then with that, I mean, you get access to Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege is part of the lineup. Assassin's Creed, if you haven't already picked it up. All of the newest content, the ultimate versions. I think that new Rainbow Six, the PvE version is coming out. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know they pushed back a couple of the bigger titles, but we're going to see what Ubisoft has in store as far as what else is coming in addition to Uplay Plus. That's a lot of great games. So as long as we got the biggest games coming, which are Cyberpunk 2077, Doom Eternal, the Marvels game coming out, right? And then we got everything that's coming day and date to Ubisoft. Day and date will be available just if you got Uplay Plus. You can't beat that. I think that's a great deal. Fantastic deal. And you get to play Uplay Plus on the go. I tell you, games like Ghost Recon Breakpoint are fantastic on a phone. That game is just built for a phone. I love playing that game on my phone. It's the best game to play on a mobile device, I think. AAA game. That being said, more games are coming. This is great, though. This is a great lineup of games that are coming to the system at its infancy stage. And I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if they're relying on 120 games basically off of Uplay Plus. I don't know. But even if that is the case, it's something that you're not getting anywhere else, opposite of PC. And I hate to say this, but right now, there is no transport system available via PC that operates like Stadia. There just isn't. I see Shadow's trying to compete because they're breaking up different tiers, but they only give you 200 gigs. That's 2 games. On their lower tier, their $14.99 tier. And then I don't like Shadow because Shadow it's not user friendly. It just takes too much to try to implement and get into. I mean, granted, you ain't got a double dip. If you're a PC gamer and you got games on PC, you just install that PC game off that platform and you play it there. But then again, you're running into having to download and manage your storage. You ain't got to do that with Stadia. It's just click and play. I got to free up my megabytes and my gigaworts. I ain't got to do none of that. And then I ran into the situation with Uplay. I mean, with Shadow, where I got a message to update the drivers. I did it, and then it froze. Thinking I couldn't access Shadow for 3 days. Like, nah, pimpin'. No, I can't get jiggy with that. Quoting Friday. I can't do that. Then there's NVIDIA GeForce. And NVIDIA GeForce is very stable, works off the same theory. You know what I'm saying? But then it's just the GUI. And then when it comes to Uplay Plus, the GUI for interacting with Uplay Plus is too cumbersome. You got to log in to the different platforms like if I'm playing a Bethesda game that's supported by NVIDIA, I got to log into their storefront and then Uplay Plus. It's just too complicated. Where again on Stadia, I just touch the game that I want to play and boop, I'm there. Now, NVIDIA, you ain't got to worry about storage, but then, like I said, it's that interface. And with NVIDIA, it gives you okay visuals. It has very good performance, but it gives you okay visuals. But the performance and the visuals still pale in comparison to Stadia on the go. Or period, overall, really. It pales in comparison. The only benefit that NVIDIA has right now is that if you have PC games and you want to play them in fairly decent fidelity and you want to play them on a multitude of devices, there's great ways to sideload NVIDIA onto pretty much everything. You can sideload NVIDIA onto a soup can and play your game, and it's playable. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, no, it does not benefit you over Stadia at all. So there's that. So again, you'll hear squabbles about that. Like I said, just combat the lies. Uplay Plus is fantastic. As a matter of fact, if I can, let me just do this. Uplay. While we're here, let me log into my Uplay. Let's go to the chat. Chat says, that would be insane. Oh my God. I got a 5K iMac. Okay, hold on. And that's from my homie Trizarector. All right. Let me see. Can I get... All right, Uplay services. It's taking forever. It's messing with my stream, y'all. I apologize. Y'all can't see that. So let me change this. Y'all not allowed to see that. Oh, crappity dappity. Okay. Hold on. What? Oh. Duh, it's not that. It's the other. Okay. Remember me? Log me in? Okay, I thought I had two-way authentication. Oh, no, I canceled it. So I gotta get that two-way authentication in. Okay. So now I can show you guys All right. So this is all the Uplay Plus games that you get. You get all these Assassin's Creeds, all of them. Um, Far Cry, you get all the Far Cries, Ghost Recon's, pretty much all of them. Load more games. Let me see. Is there a way to filter games from sort by release date? Let's do that. I guess this is the newest to the no, this is the oldest to the newest. Load more. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that was the. So I can't reverse do it. All right. So we got for some of the newer games. Oh no, nope, I did it in reverse. So we got Starlink Deluxe. We got Trials Fusion, Assassin's Creed Remastered. We got Assassin's Creed Odyssey on there, Crew, Origins. We had Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I still got that on there. Rainbow Six Siege. You got the Watch Dogs. You got For Honor on there. These are games with big following still. You get all the Far Cry games. And then you get a lot of the classics too. You get the Ghost Recons. You get the older ones. You get the older Rainbow Sixes. That if you want to try them out, and these are the ones that I have right now: Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Division 2, Far Cry 5. You know, great games, the South Parks, all that stuff, and they stay in there. You ain't got to worry about Game Pass where they rotate games and throw them out. The Brother in Arms games, I love those games. I love them. Those games are fantastic. Those are some of my favorite games of all times. And for those of you that prefer Ghost Recon Wildlands, you get that. And you get the ultimate versions of all these games. You get so many games in there. Look at all these damn games. So if it is true, how was that a knock? The vast majority of these games aren't available anywhere else except here. And that's the biggest thing that we've talked about as far as what's up with Stadia is that you getting access to games. Like, I'm happy because they offer stuff games as a service, but the average other person may not be happy because they want a totality of games. And look, you're getting more games. You get access to more games via Uplay Plus. So, I don't get where it's a loss. I don't. But that being said, it may not be the case. It may be the case if that's what they're talking about. Let's just do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we got 15 rows going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do the math. 15 times 7 is 105. So there's 105 games here. No, there's more than 105 games here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So hold on now. We got 115 games here in Uplay Plus. If they're talking about, so if you subtract the 115 from 120, there's more than 5 games that they've announced for Google Stadia this year, right? Am I right or am I wrong? So, I mean, I know they said 120 plus, so I'm not 100% sure if they're leaning on Uplay Plus. They could be, but again, look at all these games. And then we got more games coming. All right, so let me log out of there because I think it's messing with the stream. But I just wanted to show you guys that. And let me switch back here. All right. Can I switch back? So yeah, I'm not quite sure what the apprehension is. But whatever. So there's that. But the more interesting thing, and I'm going to be honest with you, the thing that kind of doesn't settle too well with me is that in this feed, notice how there was no mention of the free tier. Let me take y'all back here. And it says gamers can expect more features coming to Stadia in Q1 and beyond. Our key benefit of our platform is we can add these features without any updates, and we're still starting to roll out the following next over the 3 months. So over 3 months, they talk about support for 4K gaming, add further assistant functionality when playing on the web, support additional Android phones, and wireless gameplay. All of those are cool, but where's the talk of the free feature? The free tier? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're not considering that a feature for technicality purposes. I don't know. But that one did kind of like, raise eyebrows with me there. Like they didn't even bring that up at all. Zero Games for Me says, imagine porting all those games to work on Stadia. I know. That's what I'm talking about. And Teresa Rector said, we ain't getting all that on Stadia though. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that they're basing all that off of Uplay Plus. Now, all those games will be accessible, I think, off of Uplay Plus. I think as long as you got Uplay Plus, you're gonna have access to whatever you got in Uplay Plus. That's how it's gonna work. People are just hating. Bippity Bop, big ups to you. Thank you for following the channel and following the content. Thank you, my friend. Bippity Bop says, people are just hating. Absolutely. Charles Aran says, unless they count Ubi as separate. And that could be the case. But they said more by end of January or early February. Absolutely. I think free will be out before Doom. I'm hoping so, Bippity. But that did concern me. I ain't gonna lie. That being said, overall, come on, y'all. Come on now. This is still a plus. You're getting 120 games. Who can boast that? What console can boast that? You're getting 120 games, and I don't want to hear that crap about old games. Because, again, I'm not trying to make this a zero-sum war, but it is what it is. I don't want to hear nothing about old games because Xbox, that's what they're living and dying off of right now with Game Pass. They're living and dying off of giving you old games. That's the premier focus. Their games that they're dropping day and date, opposite of Sea of Thieves, ain't even topping the charts for their most played games. Where I'm getting Ubisoft games. I know Ubisoft was hit, because Ghost Recon Breakpoint didn't do well, but that's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. You know what I'm saying? Division kind of sold under, but I don't know what they believe was going on with the Division. You know what I mean? And releasing both of those games in the same year was kind of silly, even though I like both of them. That was kind of silly, right? But they didn't have anything for the end of 2019, and they said, oops, we got to drop something. And that's why I think Ghost Recon Breakpoint was marketed to come out this year. I think it was planned for 2020 originally, and they just made some concessions and released it early. And they paid for it, and fine. That being said, I think in totality that gamers altogether, and when you look at the community as a whole, gamers rather have Ubisoft games, despite what people are saying in publications or whatever. Gamers rather have Ubisoft games than Microsoft games right now. Gamers in totality would rather have Ubisoft games than what Microsoft is offering now. With the only exception being Halo. How can I say that with certainty? September NPD. That is the group that looks at sales dollar-wise for game console units, accessories, and titles and software. In the month that Gears of War 5 released, even though it was in Game Pass, it released, I think, 7th. It was in 7th place. Okay. That's not horrible, even though it was offered in Game Pass for $1. That being said, guess what was 6th? Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Here's the kicker, and let's look it up. When did Gears 5 release? Gears 5 released September 6th. Let's check this out. When did Ghost Recon Breakpoint release? Ghost Recon Breakpoint released October 4th. So you're like, hold on, MM2K, hold on. Whoa. Something ain't right. If Ghost Recon Breakpoint released October 4th, how was that counted in the September NPD? Ghost Recon Breakpoint, the ultimate version, was available was available a week early than the regular retail version. So if you bought the ultimate version, If you bought the ultimate version, yes. If you bought the ultimate version, you got to play it a week before the normal retail, which was when? In September. Here's the kicker though. That ultimate version, A, was only available on one day in September, the last day of September, and B, it was also part of the Uplay Plus subscription model. So just being part of Uplay Plus, just for $14.99, you could have got access to that. So when people say to me, well, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, yeah, it sold more than Gears, but Gears was in the subscription service. Don't matter. So was Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Okay, well, that was the ultimate version. Yes. That was also the version that you got when you signed on to Uplay Plus. One version, a singular, the most expensive, and one singular version of Ghost Recon Breakpoint that was available just in one day in September sold more than Gears of War 5 that was available damn well the whole month of September in just one day, even though it also was part of a subscription service. So when people look at me sideways and say, MM2K, how can you say that people would rather have Uplay Plus or Uplay games over Microsoft games and Game Pass? Numbers don't lie. Now I get it. Game Pass is a good deal for a lot of people when you look at it on paper. But I want you to look at those games in that service. Then head over to Microsoft's own website and tell me which of those games are in the top 10, even the top 20 games played on Microsoft. And there's only one. Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves. That's it. So I dare my Xbox brethren. That's why I say, leave this console war stuff to me. I dare any of my Xbox brethren to come to me and say, it's loaded with 120 plus Ubisoft games. Who cares? People rather play Ubisoft games than Game Pass games any day. Any day. Period. Before I move on, let me go to my chat. Charles Aran said, but they said more by end of January, I read that one. Trizza Rector said, I'm no insider, but a Google birdie hinted 3 to 4 months for base, and this was at the pop up in December. So March, April. Great news. That'd be great if that happens. And what was going to happen was that was supposed to happen right before Cyberpunk 2077 would have came out. And that's what I had alluded to earlier, that they do that. Give them some more time to flesh it out. Then right before Cyberpunk 2077 rolls out, they do the free tier. But now that if they would have followed my advice and did that, right? And kind of got sideswapped by the delay, I would say that letter makes a little bit more sense why they didn't mention it. Because maybe they're rethinking, well, do we need to? And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't mind paying $10 a month for this. I don't mind. I don't mind. I mean, do I need to? No, but there are games that are going to come out that I may want as part of the service. That I may want them at a discount. And you're getting deep discounts. And $10 a month, this is dropping a bucket for me. For another service. I've canceled my Shadow Play. I was doing Shadow Play $25 a month. Testing that out for y'all. So me swapping that for a $10 group. But that's me. I don't want to speak for everybody. You guys may not feel that same way. You know what I'm saying? But I think with a lot of people that are on the service, it's okay. But then we gotta get more mind share. So it's probably best that they still keep it March, April, despite the fact that they can no longer piggyback off of Cyberpunk 2077. Maybe piggyback off of Doom. And for that sake, let's see when Doom is coming out. I know. I'm a crappy gamer. I don't even know when Doom Eternal's coming out. They did give a release. It wasn't March. So you know what? It's March 20th. Man, that's a tough one, Google. Maybe March 15th. That's a tough one, Google. Wow. It's hard, man. Yeah, at the beginning of a console launch, again, I'm just using my Fortune 500 experience. That's a hard one. But I think you got to piggyback this free service off of something. I don't think you can wait till May for Marvel. There's no other big games that are coming out that you can really piggyback your service off of. Cyberpunk 2077 was going to be it. Man. I know. You might have to bite the bullet. I mean, these guys get paid good money to figure their stuff out. But if I'm just thinking I'm just thinking off the top of my head within the first few seconds on a podcast, for crying out loud. Trust me, these guys have more time to flesh this stuff out and kick the tires around. But if I'm just doing this for the audience right now, I would say that I'm piggybacking off. I'm piggybacking the free service off my off of Doom Eternal. And I'm making it available March 15th. And let's see. Let's look at March 15th is a Wednesday. So maybe that the 12th or 3rd, that Monday, you know what I'm saying? Or the day before, maybe the 19th. Maybe you make the free service available on the 19th. But that's a tough one. That's a tough one to figure out. But again, they make the big dollars. They'll figure it out. Okay. So that being said, that's a perfect segue to Doom. I have not seen the Doom launch trailer. I have not watched the Doom reveal at all. So this is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to watch it together. Yay! So let's watch it together. Let me unmute this. Let me go here. It's only 39 seconds, y'all. Uh-oh. Now, I'm saying all this because I want y'all to be aware I am not a big time Doom person. I played the original Doom and I was like, I love Doom 3. That was my favorite Doom, but with the flashlight and everything. But I played that on the original Xbox. But I'm not a big time Doom person. Let me see, make sure y'all can hear this. Okay, y'all can hear it. All right. So, but I'm hearing great things about this reveal. Another great podcaster. Guy's name is Dirk Griggity. He's an Xbox guy. I do a show with him called Scram Punks. Look up hashtag Scram Punks, so look up Dirk Griggity. Check out his channel. Very entertaining guy. Does some great skits. He's a funny guy. He's not a Doom guy either. So we were talking behind the scenes, and Dirk was like, you know what, Moss, you need to check out that Doom Eternal. Check out the reveal and everything associated with it, because it may turn a non-believer into a believer. So here we go, guys. We're going to check out Doom Eternal, my reaction to it. Let's go.
What you interfere with now is bigger than you can imagine.
That looks good.
They are no longer your people to save.
Oh, shoot. All right. Okay. I mean, I've seen more of that, and it's coming soon to Stadia. That was great. So, wow, man. Yeah, it looks good. Damn, that looks good. I can't lie, that looks good, man. I might have to pick that up. That's great. It's coming day and date to Stadia. You can't beat that, man. Hey, is March 16th through 20th. Man, I tell you. And they said there's a new trailer. Oh, is there a new trailer? Let me see. Doom trailer. Let's watch another one. Bippity Bob said there's a new trailer. I think it's this one. Is it this one? Check it out.
Peggy 18.
Let's hold on. Let's check it out. Let's go back. New trailer. Doom Eternal. Let's watch it.
who would seek to stop this. You are nothing but a usurper, a false idol.
The only thing they fear is you.
There goes the Stadia logo. Say this. I'll be honest with you. I like the first trailer better. I'm not the biggest fan of the those arena style shooters or whatever. But it is what it is. Speaking of Dirk, I'm gonna throw Dirk Giddy under the bus. So I was watching that too. I was looking at the that special DM, and Dirk Griggity says that Stadia is the most irrelevant. I'm gonna throw his ass under the bus. It's the most irrelevant platform ever. Do y'all think that Stadia has less followers than on Live? You think there was more people? You think literally Ouya had more followers? Huh? I'm even reckoning to say that because of price and stuff like that, there might have been less turbo graphics in homes that are in Stadia homes right now. I mean, again, we talked about this earlier in a portion of of the show where my show had got disrupted because of the snowstorm that we're in right now. But there's Stadia has reached, by a lot of the data that we were pouring over, reached close to, probably not quite there, but close to 500,000 users altogether. And we want to say like 2 to maybe 300,000 of those are concurrent users, right? So in the world of video games, at an early access level where they haven't even released everything, they're just saying we're here to collect data, whatever. I don't see how that's irrelevant. I even think that may have been more than the Saturn. I don't know. I could be wrong, but Stadia is far from the most irrelevant. That's an Xbox guy, and again, Xbox people want Stadia to be irrelevant because Xbox is trying its own hand in streaming, and it's not panning out the way that they thought it would be. Hence why they said, you know what? Streaming is only good when you're away from your console. So being that they got to back up from their own words, now you got my Xbox brethren following in suit and saying these false things. The most false things out there. But that's right. That's why we're here. We're going to educate them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of arena shooters, but I think that was a good presentation. I prefer the first one though, even though it was a lot shorter. I did prefer the first one, but thank you, Bibbidi Bop, for allowing us to see that in totality. You know, so great news, and I'm gonna watch all the reveal stuff too. But yeah, I'm like Trizarecta. I'm gonna pick it up, even though I'm not a Doom guy. I'm gonna pick it up. And especially to fill up the void. Now it helps it fill up the void that Cyberpunk 2077 was going to, that Cyberpunk 2077 produces. So, on to the next one. Tequila Works. You guys know them? They are the makers of games like Deadlight, I think it's called, and Guilt, which is a Stadia exclusive. So if we go here, they recently had a sit down with GameIndustry.biz. And for those of you that don't know who GameIndustry.biz is, GameIndustry.biz is what I like to call the Associated Press of gaming. Whenever there is breaking news, GameIndustry.biz is first on it. Breaking news within the gaming world, they're either on it first or it's given to them by the publications directly. And then GameIndustry.biz it's facilitated to everybody else. So whenever you see breaking news, Sony says this or Microsoft says this, like when Microsoft was upset after Sony had announced that they bought Insomniac. Remember that? When they announced they had bought Insomniac on the heels of the Gears 5 release that got everybody excited at Gamescom, and Microsoft and Sony put their foot on their necks then. And that upset Microsoft, and they released a statement. Hey, we're letting everybody know that we're no longer working to release games on other platforms. We're just going to build them for our ecosystem. They were hot. They gave it to GameIndustry.biz. Even more recently, when Sony announced that they were not coming to E3 2020, they sent a statement to who? GameIndustry.biz. So Again, these are important guys in the whole gaming community. That being guys and gals, excuse me, my apologies. That being said, Google Stadia is like the early days of Steam, this article reads, says Tequila Works CEO. Developer of Stadia exclusive Guilt believes platform hasn't reached its potential yet, but that game streaming services will only get better. Just want to read you a couple of things that out of this article. Won't read you the whole thing. They first say they have been a very good partner, and I only have good words for the Stadia team. Rubio, the head of let me get the guy's full name. His name is Raul Rubio, the CEO of Tequila Works. Again, he says they have been very good partners. I only have very good words for the Stadia team. He says most of them are coming from PlayStation, so they are familiar with the process as far as working with second-party, development teams for exclusive titles. But they have been very hands-off. They haven't imposed anything. The whole thing about Google is they have all this influx of data, all this analysis of user tests. Most of the time, it is with facts, like where people were getting stuck in the game rather than artistic oversight. So it has been very hands-off. And then another relevant thing that they've said was, Rubio says, this is my personal opinion, but this is like the early days of Steam in the sense that it is when people were complaining that it took too long to download and then download would stop and people were complaining. The price was exactly the same as a box game, says Rubio. Okay. And that is right. For a lot of you that are younger that weren't around in the Steam, early adoption of Steam, that was the case. People hated Steam. They hated it. So you don't have the Steam fanboys like you did. Oh, this ain't bringing PC gaming back. PC gaming is dead. Roll over and just die, won't you? And then look at it now. He says it's going to get better. In fact, one day when we look back, people will wonder why people were questioning streaming at all. And I'm not talking about Stadia specifically. I'm just talking about streaming in general. And I would agree. I would concur with that. I will say that to say this, though, that Stadia, the weight of the effectiveness of streaming is on Stadia's shoulders. Like Microsoft has backed off from it. Their approach, they've realized that at best, it's going to take a couple of years for it to go anywhere. And at worst, it ain't working out the way that they thought it was. Hence why you're hearing less talk about we're trying to reach the 2 billion gamers. You got publications still echoing that, but Microsoft isn't doing that anymore. They've realized since the launch of Stadia, since they've seen Stadia and since they've seen the performance of Stadia, they're like, we can't duplicate that. We can't duplicate that. So they're not talking about reaching the 2 billion gamers. But again, people have short-term memories about, and they don't connect the dots well, rather. So they're still echoing it. Microsoft has said nothing about reaching the 2 billion gamers since Stadia's launch, and the performance has even increased from then. And then you have Phil Spencer just come out and say, I'm going to be blunt with you. Console game, hardware, dedicated hardware is the best way to play. Streaming is only good if you're away from your hardcore device. Translation is, we said, I just told you I ain't got to sell you a console. I'm backing away from that because our product just ain't as good as I thought it was going to be. I'm Phil Spencer talk out of context all the time. That's me, and I did it once again. So now we're going to focus on power, the console, and hopefully that'll buy us enough time to get this thing competitive with what Stadia can do. Go ahead, I dare you, look where Microsoft has said anything about the 2 billion gamers like they used to since Stadia launched. They're not talking about it. The only thing that you see now is some publications trying to make excuses for the comparison and saying, Microsoft knows about the latency issues, but they're trying something grander and they got these flow charts and all this other stuff. I can't take that flow chart, hook it up to my HDMI, and play games off of that. So, no way, no how, buddy. You know what I'm saying? So, I said that to say this. The sustainability of streaming is now on Google's shoulders right now. And Rubio speaks to something important. Streaming altogether, when done right, can be amazing. I'm going to throw Project xCloud out of the equation. Stadia first and foremost. But even NVIDIA is showing you that streaming works. And Shadow, even though I said I don't like that, I don't like it because of the user interface. But their streaming is great too. So it works when it's implemented right. And NVIDIA is about to be powered behind the cold hard cash, the green Novocaine of Tencent. Man, oh man, oh man. Stadia better look out. Last quote I want to take from this is, Rubio says, people are totally right to be worried. It's a new technology. Historically, streaming solutions didn't work. I think it's the time, though, in a sense, in that technology is there and the audience is there. And to be honest, the content wars are here. Stadia has a lot of potential. It hasn't reached its full potential yet, but I think that it was never the idea with this small, soft launch. That's critical that he says that. I know they are working to make it better every day. I know it's going to get better because there are a few features that are going to blow people's minds. Before I focus on the blow people's minds, I want to say this. I think that it was never the idea with the small, soft launch. Or let me go back a little bit. Stadia has a lot of potential. It hasn't reached its full potential yet, but I think that was never the idea with this small, soft launch. So we got people, and bless their heart, like my grandmother used to say, bless their hearts. People like my homie Dirk Briggity sitting there saying crazy stuff like Stadia is the most irrelevant. Hey, yo, I should have bought my homie a calculator. I'm going to glue it to the side of his face. We got to crunch some numbers. We got to get, hey, look, man, we got a math deficiency at PNTS Network. What? I'm about to do some SAT scores over at the PNTS Network. What? Ouya was more popular. Gamefly, when they tried their streaming service, was more popular. Remember that? Like I said, I'm not even 100% sure that, let's take a look here. I could be way off. How many Turbo Graphics 16s were sold? Some games were $100 a pop. Oh, okay. Let me see. Oh, all right. Well, I'm way off. By March 1991, let's see. Let's go to the wiki for TurboGrafx 16. It says it was released in Japan on October 30th, 1987, and in the United States in 1989. Let's see. So from 87 to by end of March 1991. What? Okay, whoa. Oh, hold on. By March 1991, NEC claimed that it had sold 750,000 TurboGrafx 16 consoles in the United States. What the hell? Hold on, Dirt. Hey, Dirt. Code Red Dirt. I'm throwing your ass under the bus this podcast. Did my homie Dirt say that TurboGrafx 16? It says, hold on. By March 1991, in 2 years, TurboGrafx 16 had sold 750,000 consoles in the United States and 500,000 CD-ROM units worldwide. So I think there was a CD-ROM unit that came after the fact. What? In 2 months, Stadia has a likely user base of 500,000. In 2 years, Turbo, what is he? Bruh. I hope this isn't true. I'm going to cap this for Dirt. Yeah, look, y'all. PNTS Network, which was our home network of Stadia Dosage. What we do, we do content, right? We need some serious math lessons. Yeah, Dirt, I'm throwing your ass under the bus. No, Dirt's a good friend of mine, so we're going to get a good chuckle out of this. Because I'm going to throw his ass under the bus. I'm copying that right now. And where's the ruler at? Slick Rick the ruler. Oh, hell yeah. I'm throwing your ass under the bus, good brother. There we go. We're gonna copy that. Y'all, I can't show y'all all the stuff that happens. So we're gonna copy. We're gonna leave that alone. But that being said, I'm gonna paste that in the DM later and say, Dirt, whatever you smoking, brother, throw it away immediately. All right. So, what was we? Okay, so Tequila Works. Rubio of Tequila Works again brings up an excellent point as far as Google Stadia not tapping its full potential even in this early access. The purpose of this early access was to get people on board to supply user data, like he just said. He said that Google has Stadia has an infinite amount of data, and it only makes sense why they did it this way. They need, and they're trying to get ready for their biggest competitor, which is Microsoft. Microsoft is their biggest competitor. Before I get into that, let me just go to the chat. Bippity Bob said, it's going to be too late by that time. Google will keep updating. Laugh my ass off. He says, Microsoft stuck to having to support hardware. They would jump all in onto streaming if they could get away with it. Facts. That's what they wanted to do, but then they realized that their approach maybe was too bullheaded and it's not good enough to the competition out there. Bippity Bob also says, how much has the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One sold on launch? I think they did 1 million, but again, those are established platforms. They've been around for decades. This is a brand new product. What the hell is Dirt? Oh God, help us at PNTS Network. Hey, look, we have a Patreon. Please support the page. Just look at PNTS Network. We need to buy all types of Texas instruments and calculators for our crew. Golly. I beg your pardon. Anyway, but he's right that Stadia has a plethora of data and information, and they did the launch this way for this reason. I know I've said this 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,001 if I got to. The launch was set up this way because Google is running off of data. Remember how they laughed at the wireless controller before it released? Oh my, it's doing predictive controlling. Oh no. And they didn't realize, and thanks to big ups to Rebel FM podcast, one of my favorite podcasts out there, comprising of people of the late GMR magazine, the best video game magazine ever, and of One Up website, right? They do a weekly podcast. Check it out. I highly recommend it. Again, my favorite podcast of the big podcasts out there. It's your favorite podcaster's podcast, because they know their stuff. They've been in the industry for a very long time and they know their stuff. I brought them up to say this, that they did fairly realize, even though they're not big fans of Stadia, and that's okay, but at least they operate from a place of knowledge, like I always say. They said that people they had hinted that people were foolishly laughing at the predictive control mechanism that's within Stadia. And as we all know, we got it in our hands, it works. But even before we got it in our hands, they were foolish laughing at it, because that's the same technique that's being used in games like Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Call of Duty, what they do to deal with latency or to deal with performance and things like that is they use the predictive control. So they said sometimes when it glitches a little bit, you'll notice that before you even turn around a corner, you're dead. Because what they're saying in that predictive control mechanism is that, you were going to hit that corner anyway, and you were going to get shot and die. So, okay, you died a little bit earlier before you hit that corner. But so the predictive controls were already there. But people that are not in the know, that are of the outrage culture, that follow the idiot herd, don't know this stuff. And it's sad. I get sad when I see my fellow gamers that have been gaming as long as I have, if not even longer, that don't do their due diligence. They don't know this stuff. But they talk from a place of certainty. And we got to stop that. We got to stop that because I'm a big steward of information. I wake up every day enlightened by what else I can learn new. I'm never one of those people that armchair quarterback that work from a belief of, oh, you got to know, I know this for sure. Never experienced it, never tested a day in my life, but I know everything about it. I can't stand mind states like that because I'm all about personal growth. I wake up every day knowing that I don't know everything. The stuff that I do know is based off of me doing my due diligence and following facts. So when you operate from a place of, oh, this is this and this is that, and you have no experience, you haven't done any research, haven't looked into it at all, just tippity-tap your fingers and found the first search result that popped up, that's operating from a place of ignorance. And if you have a platform, that's the worst thing you can do. It may help you out in the long run because your words, might garner a bunch of followers, 100,000 followers, get you a blue check mark next to your name. But you're disserving gamers when you do stuff like that. You're at a disservice of gamers, and I just don't like that. So there are times when I'm in these DMs, there are people that like to, I'm going to be on, I'm not going to name any names, but there are people that have that mindset. That's okay. And that's fine. When I'm in these DMs, I'd slap them back and forth with the Unity ring on, to quote the Rick James skit from Dave Chappelle. Because you have a platform. Stop operating from a place of ignorance. That is a horrible thing to do. Horrible. For own personal gain. I find that sickening. I find it repulsive. And I could sit there and operate from a place of ignorance and know better. I can be someone that knows better and operate from a place of ignorance. And that's still repugnant, but at least I would still know the truth. I could do that and get, if I wanted to, look, I'm not patting my own back. I'm just saying I know how to operate this game. I've been doing this for 2 years. And I may not be the sharpest pencil in the box, but I ain't a dummy. If I wanted to have 5,000 followers, I know what I got to do to get them. Give me 2 good weeks and a bunch of rhetoric, console war rhetoric, I'd have 5,000 followers. That's not my aim here. That's not my aim anywhere. I'm trying to talk to people that want to be in the know. We ain't got to agree about the end result, but the facts are the facts. And when I'm in these DMs, these people argue absolutes about stuff and they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. And it's repulsive and repugnant. And it's not just them, it's everybody. Damn well. So my message is know what you don't know. When you know what you don't know, then at the very least, if you feel a certain way from somebody, at least gamers stay informed whether you agree with them or they agree with you or not. Like, even though I have my personal tastes that are catered to me and most people don't agree with them, at least when I'm giving my information, they're in the know. And they can say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, MM2K, but I still don't agree with that. But that's some good information. But no, people don't like doing that. And I find that sickening. I'm sorry. Going into my rants here. Let me go to my chat real quick. He says they choose to ignore facts that don't suit their... Exactly. There are people that I'm operating with that when a fact comes, they look to carve out and caveat that fact to fit their narrative. Because they have an undying urge to always feel like they're right. I don't know, maybe they're empty inside. And again, I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to down talk anybody, but sometimes you got to get in the Fortune 500 world, you'd be surprised. We are trained to be psychologists in a way because you got to make people that normally may not operate in your type of community or your particular lifestyle. You got to learn how to be able to talk to them and get them to do what needs to be done in order to get the job done. Even when they don't want to, you got to convince people sometimes to do things that may not always be in their best interest from a management standpoint. And that takes a little bit of psychology, right? So I'm used to reading people and understanding what their vices are and what makes them tick. And a lot of people wake up and, like I said, in the morning, while I'm waking up to get filled with knowledge and to operate from a place of knowledge, people wake up to be validated. They wake up every morning to be told, you're right. Like, I don't care if you agree with me or not. I know what my eyes see. I know what I'm playing, in my hands. I would get people that would tell me, that would DM me and say, you shouldn't like Stadia because of this article or what Yang Ye said or whatever. And I'm saying, look, Yang Ye ain't even playing the system. I am. I don't need another man to bite into the sandwich that I just bit into and tell me how it tastes. I don't have that urge to belong, or I don't have that urge to have other people boost me up as far as what I decide is right or wrong, or what I see with my own eyes, rather. But you got a lot of people in this community that wake up every day and they're looking for ways to be validated. They're looking for validation every day. And I don't understand it. I may wake up, I may have an opinion about something. I may say, oh man, I don't think Xbox is going to do well at E3 because of this, that, or the other. But I don't know. We'll see. And if I'm proven wrong, I'll say, you know what? I was proven wrong, but that's fine. It's for the betterment of gaming. Or, oh, I was proven wrong on that one. And you know what? I was hopeful, but I was thinking this, that, or the other. Because I thought that the opposite thing of what happened would be better for gaming. But I always leave the door open that I'm wrong, possibly. I'm putting together a bunch of hypotheses based off of facts, but they're hypotheses at the end of the day. We'll never know until we reach that moment. But people, for some reason, feel like they got to be fortune tellers and they got to be validated as such. So they take information and they caveat it to fit their narrative. And like I was saying, it's one thing to be in the know, but to use and to caveat information to benefit your argument. That's grimy, but at least you're knowledgeable. But to wake up, be riddled with misinformation and believe it and spread that misinformation and look to caveat facts to support the misinformation is repugnant. Just the thought of it makes me want to throw up in my mouth. And I hate to be so serious about it, but I am. I'm just being real with you guys. To use a platform like this where you can reach a plethora of people to misinform them? What? Disgusting. But anywho, to Rubio's point, Google has to get data to prove to everybody, or to keep up with the next generation of consoles. Because these next generation of consoles are talking about having performance modes that'll work up to 120 frames per second. Now, Google said they can do 120 frames per second, that their infrastructure is capable of it. So to keep up with that, to be able to flip that switch, they need what? User data, as Rubio has alluded to. And they're going to take that user data and increase their infrastructure. But they can't just use user data off the web. People said, oh, Google Stadia should have been free at this early access period. Well, think about it. If they just used data off the web, then they're increasing productivity on the web. But what about people that want to use Chromecast to play, to get the best fidelity? Nobody's going to do it if they can just access it for free. So guess what has to happen? You say to these people, you can test this out too. If you got a Chromecast Ultra and you go out and buy one of our thingies, you can test this out too. Or you just say, look, we need all this information all the way around. Chromecast Ultras and via browsers. We're going to sell you a nice little kit. We're going to bundle everything together so you can do just that. You get a Chromecast Ultra, a controller, 3 months of the service for free, and all that good stuff. Discounts on games. We're just going to bundle it together. Because Google's not going to give you a $70 controller and a $70 Chromecast Ultra for free. They're not going to do that. They're not going to lose $140 a pop. And I think what they probably had is they probably had enough units to supply anywhere between 500,000 to 1 million people. That's probably what they were hoping for. I know they didn't reach that, but I don't want to say I know. I'm pretty sure they didn't reach that, but they probably had enough units to do that. So can you imagine at 1 million a pop if you gave everybody that wanted one a Chromecast Ultra and a joystick? It would just be pandemonium. And how do you decide who gets what? Because you got to have a cap off period. So how do you decide first come first? How do you do that? You know, make people sign up for a beta, and then again, at 1 million a pop, you're spending 130. That's $130 million on top of your other charges just to access for discounts and to access the system. It's a lot of bread. So they decided to do it as a soft launch, early access. I can't blame them for that. And they wanted to get, and then too, if you do that, if you get 1 million people and you're just giving them the thing for free, who's to say they're not just going to let it sit there? So if people have to put money in the game, these people are going to play these units, right? If at the end of the day, those that didn't cancel their pre-orders and did all this stuff, these people are going to play the system. So you didn't waste your money sending out a whole bunch of people $130 million worth of goods that they don't even touch. You get the most staunchest people that are willingly going to supply you data. And that's what they wanted. They didn't want bad data or fake data. Makes perfect sense to me. Trizarector says they don't need a full rollout of it, as only a small amount of people could make use of it, and that will be good for bragging rights. Yeah, I agree. Bippity Bob says, hell yeah, that would be crazy if they did that too. Yeah. Also says, I think Google will drop 8K 120 before next generation consoles. I hope so. Bippity Bob also says, yeah, right. Yang Ye and other big YouTubers just lied so much after trying Stadia for myself. It really opened my eyes that you can't trust anybody on what they say, honestly. I can tell you first and foremost, I'm not going to name any names. I mean, I like everybody. I like everybody. Again, I've been a manager for Fortune 500. I've managed managers for a Fortune 500 company for over 20 plus years. So everybody that you have to work with and you have to, interact with, sometimes it's an acquired taste. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes your first bite is a little bitter than the other ones, but you got to work with these people. And I'm the type of person I'd rather break bread to break noses. You know what I mean? I'd rather break bread with you. If we got to work together, let's do it. Let's find some common cause and let's get the damn job done. Okay. So with that type of mind state, I love everybody in this DM. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all of them. And even some of the people that I got to lay waste to, I've even said to them, you know what? You're better than this. You can do better than this. This is sickening and disgusting. And, but with that being said, there are just some of those that want to follow the idiot herd, that want to boost up the idiot herd, that want to boost up the outrage culture. And they don't want to use this platform as a beneficial thing to gamers. They want to use a platform as a beneficial thing to them. And they figure out being dishonest and not forthright is a ticket. So I say that to say this. Just because you see a blue check mark and a high number, that high number next to that person's name isn't their integrity score. It's not. It just means in a lot of cases, they've suckered enough people who also just want to belong to something. And they just realize, and they just convince them that I'll be the shepherd of that thing that we can all belong to. We can feel like our own group. Yay! No matter how stupid what we say is and how out of touch with reality it is. That's what you're dealing with. So be very, very careful before you start engaging with these people and say, oh yeah, I follow Yang Ye too. Or, oh yeah, I'm falling for Dreamcast guy too. Be very, very careful. And no, here with the Stadia Dosage, we may not always agree. I know a lot of what I have to say may be borderline controversial or just might be just niche. But no, at least I'm going to operate from a place of knowledge, from a place of fact. And I welcome people to correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't wake up in the morning want to be the all-seeing eye. I want to create I'm a voice. I represent a voice. I don't represent the all-seeing eye. I represent a voice and ability to make people pay attention. Like what we did with Tom Ward. When Tom Ward was doing his Tom Warren was doing his BS, talking bad on Stadium and talking falsehoods, we got his attention. We weren't rude, we weren't ignorant, but we did it in a way to where he realized that, I messed up, and he blocked us. But we tagged Google Stadia in there too, so they could be a part of the discussion. But I don't wake up with the itch or the urge to be the all-seeing eye. I don't know. I don't want drones. I don't want you guys to be drones. I just represent a voice. I represent your voice. That's it. He says, FE here. Stadia works really, really, really well. Only problem is Google cannot communicate and eat more games fast. Absolutely. Now, they did announce, again, if you missed it, 120 plus games coming. We don't know what those games are. The speculation that they're basing off of Uplay Plus, but that's still fantastic. And what they need to do is to ensure that they get games fast, but they're getting with these 120 plus games. So that takes care of the volume aspect of it. But as far as the quality, they need to first make sure that all the big ticket AAA games, multi-plat games are coming day and date. They're doing that with Doom Eternal. It looks like the Marvel game, the Avengers game is going to be day and date. And then now with Cyberpunk 2077 being pushed back, that makes it more likely. We talked about a strategy to where they can not only make sure that it's day and date, but they can make it more beneficial to their consumers, either by getting price cuts of the game on their system or giving some kickback. We're giving you 20 for every person that buys Cyberpunk 2077. We're going to give you a $20 Google Points gift card or $30 Google Points gift card if you're a pro member. So we need to start seeing stuff like that, reminiscent of what 2K5 did in order to get EA's attention and force EA to do that $200 million deal with the NFL and close them out. But here's the thing. If Google flexes his muscle, ain't nobody buying them out. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's buying them out. So, in closing to what Rubio said, this is just early access period. More things to come. And to the blow your mind aspect of it, I believe him. I think, Rubio sounds like he's just a straight shooter. Very transparent guy, straight shooter. Our friends over at Stadia Cast, they're arranging something to get an interview with him, and hopefully they can work something out soon. I would love to see that. And if you're not a follower of Stadia Cast, just look up Stadia Cast on YouTube and follow them. Great content. I enjoy their podcast every week, and I watch their little mini videos that come to fruition throughout the week. All right. Next story. So here. Resurrector says that kickback story is so kickback idea is so yeah, they need to do it, bro. They need to do it. I think that would really send things into the stratosphere for the platform, and they got the resources to do it. We know it. It's Google. All right, so YouTube's latest streamer lures ramps up war against Amazon's Twitch. YouTube Gaming is doing what any tech giant with billions to spare. Lure talent from completing platforms like Twitch to catch up quickly. And what this story is in reference to is that, if you haven't heard, YouTube bought 3 major, from what I understand, streamers. They gave them exclusive deals to work exclusively on YouTube instead of Twitch. And it says, after losing major streamers to Microsoft's Mixer, Twitch now has another rival with deep pockets to contend with, Google's YouTube. And it says YouTube signs deals with 3 hugely popular Twitch streamers. YouTuber Musilk, who streams on Twitch, is one streamer part of the deal. The deals could really help YouTube as it tries to grow its gaming live streaming. YouTube announced that it has signed an exclusive deal with 3 hugely popular Twitch streamers, Musilk, Laserbeam, and 100 Thieves. Member Valkyrie have all ditched Twitch to stream on YouTube. It's unclear how much YouTube paid the three for these deals, but it's likely to be several millions of dollars. Wow. They all have hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitch, and Musook and Laserbeam have already had millions of subscribers on YouTube. Wow. So they already have a platform built up. Valkyrie is nearing 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Getting them to stream only on YouTube won't have been cheap and may have cost more if the deals required them to stream a designated number of hours a week, a month. These aren't the first streamers to leave Twitch for YouTube for another site. Twitch streamers Corinne Kopf left the site to join YouTube, to join Facebook Gaming. Ninja left Twitch to join Mixer. Twitch has also been signing big deals as it signed Nick A30 from YouTube. If YouTube is happy to spend money on deals like this, it shows just how important game streaming is to the world's biggest video platform. Okay. And I think that's enough of the article to read to get to the relevancy here. Here's the thing, and why is this important on the Stadia Dosage? This is important on the Stadia Dosage because YouTube is owned by who? Google. And we know that one of the biggest implementations or integrations talked about with Google is the streaming aspects with Stadia. And therefore it's a given, just like how we saw Microsoft do with Ninja on Mixer with Gears 5. They're going to be premiering games on Stadia. They're going to be playing games on Stadia. And by them streaming and playing games on Stadia and showing and highlighting these different features that are going to be exclusive to Stadia, that again, let me go back, just in case you forgot, that Rubio of Tequila Works said are going to blow people's minds, right? If that's what's going to happen, then that's going to boost the platform even further. And it's going to help slap down the naysayers so MM2K ain't got to do it by his damn self all the time. No, I'm just joking. You guys be fighting a good fight too. But all these people that lie, they lie to me in these DMs too. I find it sickening. The latency is crazy. 75 MMPSGR DK. I don't know what the hell that means. All I know is that when I play the game, it feels like I'm playing on a dedicated device and it runs at faster frames than Xbox. So stop all the DDKR, MMS, GPG, MSMGGG. I don't care about that garbage. And neither does the average gamer. I just get frustrated sometimes because my Xbox brethren, instead of playing games, they become IT experts and technical wizards. Like, stop it. What matters? All I care about is what matters to the end user. What matters to the end user is, oh man, this feels like I'm on a dedicated device. Oh man, these are faster frames than I'm getting on console. This is great. For how much? 130? I ain't got to pay $500-$600. Oh, this is excellent. All you got to do is get the games. Like my homie, the Guinness says. Get the games and showcase them. And Trizarector says, combined with Stadia, it's a home run. Click the link to play. Absolutely. So you're watching your favorite YouTuber play a game. Click here if you want to play Doom Eternal 2. Boom. And then you're playing the game off the browser. You don't go and fiddle-faddle and wait for no load times and automatically boots up. This is where it starts getting serious with Stadia. I wish my Xbox brethren, instead of sitting there telling these lies, would go back to Phil and say, do better like how we've done with our Phil. Why is Project xCloud so laggy? Maybe y'all need to go back to the drawing board. What happened to the 2 billion gamers? I didn't see my Stadia people out here talk, well, Xbox ain't doing this too. They said, no. I don't care about these console fanboys in the crumb side. I'm going to Phil Harrison, everybody at Google Stadia, and I'm telling them to do better. I wish more gamers would do that. But anyway, I digress. So these new YouTubers are going to be big. And it shows you again that even though they're signed to YouTube, we know that the Google Stadia integration is going to be part of all this. They're going to be streaming Stadia games, and they're going to be slapping away the naysayers that want to talk about the 75 MPGR DTTTTS. That a casual gamer is going to say, what? The hell are you talking? Get out of here with that bibble babble. Like you some damn technical engineer. I just want something to plug my HDMI into and play. I don't want to hear that technical babble. It don't mean nothing. It's all about how it works to the end user. Microsoft has convinced their siloed gamers that they all got to talk and act like technical engineers. And I fell into that trap. I was talking all that silly, stupid, goofy, gumby, silly, dumb, stupid, silly stuff too when the X released. Only to get a $500 console that had games on the $200 counterpart that looked better. Fool me once, shame on you. Y'all know the rest. That being said, this is a big deal for Google. It's a big deal for YouTube. And it just shows you what's on the horizon for Stadia. Stadia is here for the long term. And just like my homies at Generation Stadia, and I saw that Stadia Cast had picked up the mantle and talked about this again too, that you can't listen to fraudulent sites like Google Stadia Graveyard or Google Graveyard. They're just there for clicks. They're there for clicks and they're there for haters. And I remember somebody on Twitch had referred to us at Stadia Dosage and said, Picasso didn't transform into Google Photos. Picasso was, no. Google Photos at core was what Picasso was at core, being able to manage photos. There were some capabilities on Picasso that nobody used, so they scrubbed those, rebranded it Google Photos. Google does it all the time. That's like YouTube gaming. They got rid of, they're scrubbing the YouTube gaming thing, and they're going to rebrand it, but it doesn't mean that they're not supporting gaming. Look at what they did. They just bought new YouTubers to do new streamers to do gaming on YouTube. So that makes entities like Google Graveyard a farce. The chat says Google needs to drop the price of the Chromecast too. Most people will play Stadia on TVs or at least like the option. Well, there's Android TVs coming out too to that vein that are going to do that will have Chrome built inside of them and allow you to stream straight from the TV. That's going to have like a gaming mode that's Stadia ready. And I would do a discount on Chromecasts. I would drop the bundle to $79.99. Like what I would do is in September, this is what I would do. Yeah, you got to bring out the duffel bags. We got to look like we starting World War III out there, even though all we got in them duffel bags is that green Novocaine, baby. That cold, hard cash. This is what you got to do. You got to not only go to Cyberpunk 2077 and somehow see if you can get the price lowered, or if, like Trizzer Rector says, because they got exclusive marketing deal with Microsoft, that's not possible, then you give back additional Google Play points. And in addition to that, I would drop the Chromecast and joystick bundle to $79.99. I would go all out, do both of those, because if you do both of those, then that allows Google Stadia to get in the hands of gamers at a fraction of the price right before the release of the new consoles. And then these gamers can sit there and look at this and be like, whoa, hold on. The 4K will be improved. This looks great. And they'll get 4K on the browser. I can get this 4K on my browser. And they'll get the best fidelity from the Chromecast. And they'll be like, hold on. I'm playing these games at 60 frames per second. I can't even get a consistent 60 frames per second on performance mode from these consoles. I ain't got paid $600. What? And then when people hear 120 frames per second, the average gamer, they ain't even gonna be able to utilize it. You wanna know why? Because the average gamer ain't gonna have 120 hertz monitor or 120 hertz TV. And Google can underline that and say, oh, when you guys upgrade to one, great, yeah. We'll be able to support that too. But right now, ain't nobody got one. Mostly, people mainly got 60 hertz monitors, but we will have the capabilities of 120 hertz too. And for your 60 hertz monitor, you're going to get consistent performance from us at a fraction of the price. With the ease of use, that can be done nowhere else. So, all the naysayers that said that Google Stadia was out the door, they're wrong. And they've just been proven wrong once again because of these investments. All right. Last thing. That this talked about the deal as well. Last thing before we go. A big question came up with some of the YouTubers that I talked to. Me and my buddy Duncan were having a side conversation on Twitter. And we had brought up where it's reasonable to surmise through various data that there are close to 500,000 users overall of Stadia. Right. There are certain sites, and I forget their names, that there is a demand for Stadia. There's actually a waiting list of 10,000 people that want to get buddy passes, that want to try Stadia out. I get it. They don't want to spend 130 on it and make the full-time commitment, but they want to try out the service. So there's a group that has a waiting list of 10,000 people. I got like half a dozen people right now that whisper like, psst, MM2K, get me a buddy pass. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working with different outlets to try to get them buddy passes too. So it's reasonable to surmise that they're close to 500,000. And plus, if you look at the app, which you don't necessarily need to start playing Stadia now, if you look at the app indicates that there's anywhere between 100,000 people to 500,000 people. And again, when you crunch all the data, it's reasonable to surmise that there's 500,000 people that have at least tried Stadia. Continuous users, me and Duncan were talking, and I think he came up with a spot on number. I would say it's anywhere between, he says, and I agree, there's anywhere between 200 to 300,000 concurrent users. But people don't believe that. They think that there's people dropping off left and right from Google Stadia. And I want to know what your experience is, because I'm on Reddit. I've seen some posts where people said, you know what, I just don't want to play Stadia anymore because I ran through the games. And when I see posts, for every one post that I see like that, I see like 8, 9, 10 others that were like, oh no, I'm loving the experience. I do want more games, but I'm loving the experience. I'm playing it every day. So I just want to know from everybody, what's been your experience? And again, we can be transparent about it. This is only early access. We're not giving up any ground. I don't think it's Google's dying. You know what I'm saying? Either or. Stadia's dying either or. But again, what do you think? What do you guys think about that 200, 300,000 concurrent users and 500,000 hands that have touched the system altogether? Again, and to compare, we got people, we got TurboGrafx that didn't have as many users. So I'm curious. Let me know what you guys think. You could do something as simple as, if you agree, type in 1. If you think it's less than that, type in 2. If you think it's more, type in 3. I doubt it's going to be more. But it is, and again, it is what it is, because people know that this is an early access and all the feature sets aren't out yet. Charles Duran, I'm not big on how some in the community are against asking for buddy passes. There are folks that overlook the budget gamer. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, these people that are already invested in their consoles. Like me, I was already invested in PC. I was struggling trying to get frames, but I was happy with the experience all the more. And I wasn't getting Google Stadia for myself. I was getting it to test it out for y'all because I wanted to test out cloud streaming, because my goal with cloud gaming wasn't to play it at home. I was going to play my console though. My goal with cloud gaming was when I'm out with my wife or I'm out and about and I move around a lot. And a lot of times I'm static in the air waiting for this or waiting for that person. Can I pop out the Division 2 and play it? And I was eyeballing Google Stadia because what Google Stadia was doing was making you play Plus Mobile. So that's the only reason why I was looking into Google Stadia, was to make you play Plus Mobile. And come to find out that it was a more grander experience than I even imagined. But I just was interested in cloud gaming in totality. So, yeah, the budget gamer, as my homie Charles says, he said, you can't doubt them. You can't doubt them, and you can't throw them out of the equation. They've already invested in whatever ecosystem that they're in. They're not doing technical play tests like I am. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for the play test, trust me, I wasn't even getting the system. I was thrown off originally when I found out I had to go get a Pixel phone. I was like, oh, this is, And then I said, you know what? I'm not canceling my pre-order. I'm going to get it for the sake of my listeners, because I like to be in the know. And it was just it just passing by that opportunity with me at the same time playing a lot of GeForce NVIDIA. I couldn't play that, put that on the pedestal without trying out everything. And now that I've tried out everything, I've turned a new leaf. If y'all could go back to my old Twitter posts, I had when the two platforms were under NDA and I couldn't speak about them, I had NVIDIA number 1, I had Shadowblade number 2, and I had Google number 3 based off of what I experienced off of when it was Project Stream. I did, and I was like, I'm not really going to be big on Stadia. It's just cool that it's out there. Maybe it'll evolve to something one day. And then I got it in my hands and I said, holy cow, this isn't just impressive for game streaming. This is impressive for a gaming platform altogether. Period. Bibbidi Bop and Zero Games for me both put up ones that they feel that's a reasonable estimation of how many gamers are out there. And I wanted to do that because I know we got people listening that want to, remain in the ethos. They don't want to be seen nor heard. And that's okay. I get it. It can be intimidating dealing with a lot of these idiots out here that want to blast you for liking what you like. But with that being said, I'll take the front lines. I don't care. Y'all may see me on Twitter getting into some nefarious effery, as I like to call it, but it's all for the purpose of disintegrating lies and exposing the truth. I'm gonna put it like this, because I'm an open book when I can be. I don't like liars. I don't like liars and I don't like lies. It's one thing when you're joking around. Like, I deal with a lot of people that like to troll, and they'll have their way with the facts, all in the name of fun. That's one thing. But I don't like liars. When people reasonably deceive and they want you to walk away with less knowledge or false knowledge for their own personal benefit, I don't like that. Never did, never have. In my own personal life, there are family members. They've never hurt or stolen anything, but just for the simple fact that they lie on a regular basis, I just don't talk to them. So much it agitates me. I'm not proud of it. It's just how I was made, how I'm wired. It just does something to me. So that's why you saw me out there, if you follow my content, capping, as they say, for Fallout 76. Not because I thought Fallout 76 was some great game. I thought it was a pretty good game.
I thought it was a 7.5. But because people want to belong to something so bad and they were willing to lie, and I can't stand it, I went out there and said something. Same with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. When people lied and said that nobody could like this game, just the silly stuff they were saying and making up stuff, the Yong Yays and the Dreamcast guys, I had to go out there and put them to task. Same, and now with Stadia. Paul Tassi with his sly articles, with the sly titles, and then Tom Moore, who ended up blocking us. I just can't stand lies. It's one thing to get misinformation, then you correct it as soon as if you were misinformed. But it's another thing to just operate off a basis of ignorance, not do your due diligence and not worry about it, not kick the tires, as we say in my industry, and just know that you're going out there with possibly something fraudulent. But because you can sway public opinion, you just go with it. I don't like that. So that's why I wanted to bring up those numbers and put them to light. There's a following, and it's growing. It's growing. A lot of people have looked at the platform and said, you know what? These are all games that I've played, I've already beat, or I'm just not interested in. When they start getting new games, I'll get into it. But the platform works. It works. Or it's great, but I like to play online with my friends, and none of my friends are here. And I get that. So I want to say, like, out of maybe every 4 or 5 people that may have got buddy passes, maybe Google was able to retain 1. But that's still growing. I would say out of 1 out of every 5 people that try, like my son. I went and bought him Borderlands 3. He loves it. He loves it. So let me go to the chat before we go. Trizza Rector says, wait till they really roll out the advertising. Bippity Bob says, right. It's just the fact that they lie. If they actually told the truth but said, I just don't like cloud gaming, that would be fine. Absolutely. Absolutely. To Bippity Bob's point, I had a guy, again, I talked about this before. I had a guy, you guys follow me, you noticed it. A guy was saying all these falsehoods about Stadia back and forth, and I just was knocking them down left and right. And then I finally just said, I'm tired of this. Like, I wasn't having fun knocking down it wasn't even, I was kicking a dead horse. It wasn't fun anymore. Here, look at my stream. And I showed him my first stream that I did to the world, revealed to the world to shut them the hell up, was my Destiny 2 stream. And he was like, wow. And then he said, you know what? He just gave up. He said, you know what? I don't know what I really don't know what I'm talking about. This is all stuff that I've heard and I've latched onto. But I've latched onto it because I just don't like the idea of cloud gaming. Those are the type of people that are controlling the airwaves right now. Like, again, people want to wake up and they want to be validated. And I don't know what's going on in their personal lives. And I'm not saying mine is great and fantastic. It's not. But I'm cool with myself and not feeling it. And I don't need to be patted by anybody on what I believe or what I know is the truth. I don't need nobody to validate anything that I've come across. And if I made a mistake, okay, oops, I'll own up to the mistake and I keep going. I don't need to be validated. I don't need it. If I needed to be validated, then I would have 5,000 followers because I'd be out here spewing a whole bunch of false rhetoric like everybody else. That sounds fancy. And I'd be talking in my marketing voice, in my 22-year career voice. No, I'm relaxed. I'm comfortable like this. And I only want people that wants to be stewards of knowledge. We ain't got to agree, but be stewards of knowledge. Like Bippity Bob said, we ain't got to agree. You can just say it's not for me. And I can respect that. Big up to a guy that's a supporter of mine and a supporter of Broadband Bullies. His name is Vaughn Lamont. It's a funny guy. Very funny guy. I remember when Fallout 76 came out and he played it and he came back in our Discord and said, I played that Fallout 76 and I just don't like it. It ain't for me. I just don't like it. I think it's trash. And I said, Vaughn, you know what? I can respect that because you played the game. What about it? And he went down things that he didn't like. And I said, I can't argue with you. That's fine. And that was the end of the discussion. But you got these major YouTubers that went out there and told all these lies for clicks. You got to understand, you guys are feeding a lot of these people. And because you're feeding them, you think they respect you a little bit more and want to tell you the truth, but they don't look at you like that. They look at you as herd. That's why I call it the idiot herd. Don't be an idiot following a herd. Zero Games for me says a lot of people praise xCloud and call Stadia trash. I don't even think they tried Stadia. Fanboys and haters, absolutely. And if they tried Project xCloud, which a lot of them haven't either, they would realize that Project xCloud isn't even feasible in Microsoft's mind. If it was feasible in Microsoft's mind, you would still hear Microsoft talking about the 2 billion gamers, and then they wouldn't tell you that streaming is only good when you're away from your console. What about people that don't want to play on consoles? What about the phone gamers and the mobile gamers when you said, Phil Spencer, that I don't have to sell you a console? Now you're saying, how does that match up? I don't have to sell you a console to now streaming is only good when you're away from your console. Well, I mean, what? It's either I'm selling you a console or I'm not. So, again, to your point, Zero Games for me, they're following the idiot herd. They're not based in fact. And Trizzle Rector says, my issue is all Stadia is an option to play games. It benefits you. Facts. That's all it is. And don't worry, guys. After this podcast, I'm going to that DM and I gotta embarrass my buddy, Dirk Griggity. Bless his heart. Bless his heart. We got to be rooted in truths and facts, and it is what it is. I just thought that was funny. He'll get a kick out of it too, and he'll throw me under the bus with something else. He's good at doing that, and I'm good at countering too. We go back and forth, but no, it's all love. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. My homie Trizzle Rector, Zero Games for me, Bippity Bob. Now doing it up in the chat, man. I appreciate it. Who else did we have here? We did have we had Stadium Gaming and Charles Aran. We had Chase Forth, and we had One to Escape, aka Duncan, that had to roll, and then we had my homie 706 Gamer that came over earlier. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming through, for seeing this third episode, which was a great episode of the Stadia Stream Connect podcast. Some great news that we went over. And with that said, you all have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.